What is up, everybody? This is your boy, Teran Rodriguez, bringing you another edition of Set Point. And as always, we have ourselves a jam-packed show as we have a lot of volleyball to discuss, such as UCLA men's volleyball continuing to win. They take down UC Irvine in a barn burner that had over 4,000 in attendance. How did the gutty little Bruins do it? And could they possibly go undefeated? Also, how about Vanguard? The Lions from Costa Mesa, California, taking out UC San Diego. How did Vanguard do it? Also, how about Hawaii taking down BYU not once but twice? Good on the Rainbow Warriors. Are they the real deal? Also, how about USC and UCLA on the beach side of things, taking down Cal Poly? Also, how about Washington taking down LSU? The Huskies have going on with Steve McFadden. Also, MLB and LOB to discuss Landon Marvel, Set, Summer, favorite volleyball action here on Set Point. This is Teran Rodriguez bringing you another edition of Set Point here on iSports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. And welcome one, welcome all to another edition of Set Point. Thank you all for joining me on this beautiful Thursday evening, Thursday afternoon, Thursday, wherever you are listening from. Either way, you've made your way to episode 340 of Set Point. Without any further delay, let's begin. But first and foremost, Set Point would not be where it's at without iSports Radio providing the platform to go live on YouTube and on X. Please do follow iSports Radio on several different social media platforms such as X, TikTok, and Instagram. Also, subscribe if you haven't already on YouTube. We would greatly appreciate it. We're trying to reach 500 subscribers. We definitely would appreciate all the help we can get. And with your help, it can definitely happen. Also, make sure to check out our website, iesportsradio.com, for all of the latest regarding all of our shows. Also, check out who we are and what we do as podcasters and content creators, and so much more. For the last 11 years, iSports Radio has been bringing you amazing content, ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel, to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports around the country. Thank you to everyone for all of your support and for making iSports Radio your direct feed for all that sports. A huge shout to our sponsors, Planet Jerky, Premium Brisket Beef Jerky, and Vital Apparel. So without any further delay, let's get on into what our sponsors are all about. I will see you all in a little bit.
Hi, eSports Radio fans. This show is brought to you by Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm, Single A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar, and high in protein. Go to their website at planetjerky.net and follow them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Planet Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet.
Rise and shine. It's 4 a.m. The stars are still out. The sun is beneath the horizon, but it's time to punch in and go to work. The comfort of your warm-ups turns into the grinding out of your reps as the clinking and the clinking of the plates create a symphony of euphoria. There's no other feeling like it. Earn it, burn it, and take what's yours. IE Sports Radio has proudly partnered with Vital Apparel, a brand that not only fits great, but also promotes and donates to mental health research. Use our code IESR to get 15% off their comfortable and inspiring gym wear and help them on their amazing journey to support mental health. Go hard, take part in your iron therapy, and be strong. Because when your mental health is as strong as you are, there's no telling how far you'll go. For the last 10 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. Make sure to follow us at IE Sports Radio on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube to keep up with the latest in sports and with all of our shows. Also, make sure to check out our daily updated website at iesportsradio.com. At iesportsradio.com, you can see our daily show schedule and check out all of our show pages with personal bios to learn a little bit more about each of our awesome hosts. In addition to our show pages, you can catch the IE Sports Radio blog, Hall of Fame, Fans of the Month page, and our merchandise shop including t-shirts, tank tops, caps, long sleeves, hoodies, and more. For now over a decade here at IE Sports Radio, we've continued to be by the fans, for the fans, and we thank you all for your support and for making IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports.
That's right, everybody. Definitely check out all of our amazing shows and our sponsors. Also, make sure to check out our website, iesportsradio.com, for everything IE Sports Radio related. And the way you can follow Setpoint on social media is on X, formerly known as Twitter, at @set_point_IE. You can also follow me personally on X as well, at Teran Rodriguez 1. You can also follow Setpoint on TikTok at @set_point_IE. And you can also follow Setpoint on Instagram at @set_point_IESR. That's where most of my content has been going to in terms of like me covering volleyball matches and so on and so forth. So without any further delay, let's get on into the volleyball action. So I do apologize if I did not go live on Monday. So unfortunately, I had PA announcing to do in terms of like men's high school boys volleyball tournament. So sadly, I couldn't be live. And then after that, in addition to that, I was also battling sickness. So it was either, and I wasn't even 100% on Monday. So, and it eventually kind of got worse on Tuesday. So that's why I kind of have been AWOL the last 3 days. And that's why I'm having the show a little later than normal. So, but it's also marked the 6-year anniversary when I last didn't go live, when I last took the week off. So I didn't want to like have a repeat of that, which it's hard to believe that I haven't taken a week off of Setpoint in over 6 years. It's pretty insane if you ask me. So why should I start now? So there you have it. That's why I haven't been live. I didn't go live on Monday, which sucks, but it is what it is sometimes. And, you know, that's just how it is. And I take no pride in, you know, not going live, which I really want to stay consistent on a weekly basis. You know what I mean. All right, now let's go into the volleyball action. Enough of my rambling. So we had quite a bit happening this past week in terms of the NCAA men's volleyball season. So for purposes of, unfortunately, this show came out later than in the week than expected. I'm not going to actually preview week 10. So if you've been paying attention with what week 10's happening, you know what's happening. So anyway, moving on. So week 9 was pretty insane, if you ask me. It was quite the amazing week. So the madness kind of started on Wednesday, and I'm sorry if my voice isn't all that great. I mean, I'm still a little raspy. I mean, I'm much better than I was a few days ago, but still trying to fully shed this head cold. But I'm pretty much over the worst of it. So Anyway, Wednesday we had UCLA, number 1 UCLA sweeping number 12 UC Santa Barbara. Despite UCLA sweeping, this was kind of a grinded out match for those gutty little Bruins. They were on the road. All 3 sets were really close. They were decided by 2 points. So you got to give it up to UC Santa Barbara for fighting throughout most of the match against the Bruins. They even had an insane play, which I think was like a 1 minute or so rally. But in the end, UCLA was able to get the win as Zach Grama just continued to have himself a monster season. He had 19 kills. He hit .586. Chris Connolly has also stepped up at the libero position. He had 10 digs. Sean Kelly also had 14 kills. Santa Barbara was led by George Bruning, who had 16 kills. He hit .412. Riggs Guy and Ethan Saint both had 10 kills, but it wasn't enough. I'll give UC Santa Barbara the benefit of the doubt. They were solid throughout this match. It's just that when you're facing the number 1 team in the nation, you got to be more than solid. And then we had this little matchup. Also on Wednesday, we had this incredible matchup. We had Vanguard, the Lions of Vanguard, taking down number 9 UC San Diego in 5 sets. So there's a lot of storylines when it comes to this matchup. So Vanguard has had a challenging schedule. They faced all but one of the top 4 teams or top 5 teams in the nation. They faced UCLA, USC, Pepperdine, Long Beach State, and UC Irvine. They also played the number 1 team in Division III, being Springfield. They also faced the number 1 team in NAIA in the Masters University. But in this matchup against UC San Diego, I don't know what was in the air when it came to being in Costa Mesa, but Vanguard really brought it, and they wound up pulling off the upset against UC San Diego. It's their first ranked win as an NCAA men's volleyball team. NCAA Division I-2 team, or National Collegiate Men's Volleyball Team, which is really incredible if you ask me. The last time they pulled off an NCAA win was against CSUN, but at the time, CSUN wasn't ranked. Vanguard wasn't an NCAA Division I-2 team or National Collegiate Men's Volleyball Team. They were still an NAIA men's volleyball team. And also, CSUN, like I said, they weren't ranked. This time, UC San Diego was ranked, and the fact that Vanguard pulled off that win is just incredible. Cole Oliver led the way with 15 kills, while UC San Diego was led by Leo Pravetnikov, who had 16 kills. Despite losing, the Tritons had 11 service aces. They did miss 27 serves. Yikes! They had 248. They had 33 digs, and they had 11.5 blocks as a team. Vanguard had 11 kills. They also had 22 service errors, 11 service aces. Willie Wang had a whopping 5 service aces, which is pretty darn impressive. And that's how Vanguard was able to pull off its amazing 5-set win over their first ever National Collegiate Men's Volleyball ranked opponent, which is just incredible. So jumping over to Thursday, I don't think we had anything too spectacular. Actually, we did. We did have something pretty spectacular. We had Lewis, number 15 Lewis, taking down number 13 Ohio State in straight sets. So this was kind of the story of Lewis. They were just downright hungry for a win. They needed a big-time win in the worst way, and they were able to get it. Unfortunately, they still don't have Osan O's, but Cameron Hoying has been absolutely dynamite. He had 14 kills. He had 7 digs. He's actually a setter converted to opposite, which is pretty incredible if you ask me. Daniel Haber also had 10 kills. He hit 471. As a team, the Flyers hit 385, which is pretty nice if you ask me. They had 11 service aces, which is pretty darn impressive in a 3-set match. Ohio State only missed 8 serves. They did have 5 aces, but they only hit 167 as they were led by Daniel Hurley and Shane Wetzel, both having 7 kills. It was just not Ohio State's night as the Flyers were able to pull off the upset win on their home floor. And winning, and Lewis is such a tough place to win at. It's kind of like a high school gym, but I wouldn't say it's like a high school gym, but it's kind of like has that feel of it. The bleachers are close to the floor and the ceiling's low. So, yeah. And then also on Wednesday, we had the first of 2 matchups between Hawaii and BYU. So here's the story of Hawaii BYU. So originally this wasn't supposed to be played because the NIL tournament was supposed to be not this past week, but the previous week. But since the NIL tournament got canceled, which unfortunately, shout out to those that decided to drop the ball, you unfortunately did ourselves an injustice. That unfortunately got canceled. So instead, Hawaii was quick to schedule BYU in a 2-match series, which is great thinking on Hawaii's behalf and BYU's behalf. In the first match between the two teams, Hawaii took down the Cougars in 4 sets, which was pretty good if you ask me. Hawaii was led by Kainoa Wade, who had 16 kills. Louis Sakanoko added 15 kills. Adrian Roy had 14 kills. It was just a really good night for Hawaii. They hit 460. They had 8 service aces, which was very nice, 3 of which went to Sakanoko. For BYU, they were led by Trent Mosier, who had 18 kills. He had 4 service aces, while Trevor Herget and Connor Oldani both had 12 kills. But unfortunately, it was not enough. Despite hitting 386, BYU did not win. And that's kind of surprising. When BYU hits that big of a number, but they still don't win, it shows that the opponent was either better than them or they just had a few points where that could have slipped through their fingers. Other notables on Thursday, we had UMES, or University of Maryland East Shore, picking up its first NEC win. So great job to that program in its first year as an NCAA men's volleyball program. You had Loyola Chicago beating Northern Kentucky. You had Ball State taking out Tusculum in 4. That was pretty much that for the notable Thursday matches. Friday, we had a good chunk of notable matches. We had Lewis sweeping Northern Kentucky. You had McKendree taking out Queens in 4. Finally, McKendree is back in the win column. That took like forever for them to pick up that win. And that must have been a massive sigh of relief. You had UC San Diego getting a slick back against Vanguard, taking them down in 4. Pepperdine took down William Jessup in 4 sets. Everyone here was surprised that Jessup took a set off of Pepperdine. But this just goes to show that, one, Pepperdine playing at Jessup kind of can give teams fits, because road teams will often kind of struggle on the road. And then 2, the Jessup fans really packed the gymnasium really well, which was pretty darn impressive. So overall, William Jessup deserves a lot of credit for taking a set off them. They won the second set 27-25. Everyone was just surprised, but it just goes to show you got to play the game. You just can't simulate it. So just wanted to make note of that, as Clement Osahan Jr. led the way for Jessup with 12 kills, while Jonas Mueller and Jan Lopuch added 10 kills each. Cole Hartke was obviously Cole Hartke with 23 kills. He hit 462. He was just outstanding. If you've been paying attention with Pepperdine as of late, you're probably going to see why he might be the best opposite in NCAA men's volleyball. And then this little upset happened. So number 19 NJIT finally got cooled down as George Mason took them down in 4 sets, which was pretty darn impressive. Great job to George Mason. And George Mason's kind of been through the ringer. I mean, they lost Liam French in one of their first few matches of the season to a non-contact injury, which was just so devastating for George Mason. But George Mason has been resilient. Robert Evangelista and Aiden Welton both led the Patriots with 15 kills. Welton had 10 digs. Robbie Nardoni added 11 digs. George Mason, they hit 395, which was very good. Even though they missed 23 serves and only had 3 aces, they were downright solid. NJIT hit 303, but it just wasn't enough. They only had 1 player in double digits in terms of kills, and that was Victor Nowak, who had 21 kills. Unfortunately, it was not enough. Diego Lopez also had 14 digs, which was solid, but it just wasn't enough. So finally, we get a little bit of excitement from the EIVA. I thought it was going to be Penn State and NJIT on the unbeaten path facing one another, but George Mason shook things up, and that's a good win for George Mason. It really is a confidence booster, and they definitely need a big-time win like that. Then heading down to Irvine, we had number 2 Long Beach State taking on Concordia Irvine. So this was a decent matchup right here. So this was actually the first of a home-and-home series between the Beach and the Golden Eagles. First set, Concordia Irvine. I don't know what was in the air when it came to Concordia Irvine, but they brought it when it came to Long Beach State. They took that first set 25-19. I feel Long Beach State was still kind of in that stage where they were still kind of coping about the loss that they suffered at the hands of UCLA in 4. But after that first set, Long Beach State kind of kicked it into overdrive, took the next 3 sets quite handily. The Beach was led by Skylar Varga and Wojciech God. I actually can't pronounce this guy's name. I think we just call him Woj. Everyone just called him Woj. So Woj Gajek, and Skylar Varga led the way with 12 kills each. Connor Bloom also had 9 kills. He was solid. Long Beach State hit 342. Concordia Irvine was led by Logan Whitaker, who had 13 kills. And I'll just say this, Concordia Irvine taking a set off them. Look, I saw them against Stanford. If they had taken that set against Stanford like that, I think they could have beaten Stanford. Unfortunately, that was just not the case. And they wound up taking the loss then. And they also took the loss at Long Beach. So sadly, Concordia Irvine's just going through it. They just need that one win. That's what John Gurton told me. They just need to get that one win to snap that losing streak. Brian Francione pops in the chat room. He says, "Good evening, Teran. Thank you for popping on in. I appreciate you." Continuing on with NCAA men's volleyball. So Friday, we had this matchup that I went to. Number 1 UCLA at number 4 UC Irvine. So truth be told, I went to this matchup, but I take no pride in being late to this matchup. Just like the reason why I unfortunately couldn't make it, or I couldn't go live on Monday, I had PA announcing. Your boy has to make this money and do it for the kids and the players and everyone in regards to the volleyball community. But I digress. Anyway, so UCLA, UC Irvine, look, I get everyone was frustrated that they weren't able to watch it be streamed, but it is what it is. I mean, UC Irvine made their bed, and unfortunately, everyone had to pay for it. My only hope for UC Irvine is that they don't let this happen again. Please, no more budget cuts. Please stream your non-conference matches. Thankfully, the rest of the way for UC Irvine, they'll be streaming the rest of their matches in terms of Big West Conference play, and they'll also be streaming the Big West Conference tournament that they'll be hosting. So there you go. But as for UCLA, UC Irvine, I'll just say this, 4,133 in attendance. That's the second most in attendance for a UC Irvine sporting event. So bravo to UC Irvine. Way to show up. And great job to UCLA and UC Irvine fans. And great job to UC Irvine marketing. Also, shout out to their event staff. If you saw my interview with David Niffen, you'll see why in the description. That's on Instagram, by the way. Anyway, as for the match, Sean Kelly just continues to be Sean Kelly. He had 19 kills. Zach Rama wasn't even 100%. I think he had like a little bit of a flu, but bro still put up 20 kills and 8 digs. Also, Andrew Rowan had 12 digs and 49 assists. You all saw my recap. Like, UCLA, they just keep finding ways to win. And as the old saying goes, great teams find different ways to win. And UCLA just keeps finding ways to win. And this Bruin team is very something special. UC Irvine, they were led by Will Darcy, who had 15 kills. Andre Jokanovic added 14 kills. Trevor Clark made his return for UC Irvine. He had 12 kills. He hit 476. It's incredible what Trevor Clark has done with UC Irvine. He is starting a different position in middle blocker. He's leading the nation in terms of hitting percentage, in terms of like the National Collegiate Men's Volleyball realm, in terms of D1, D2. But Trevor Clark, welcome back, buddy. I'm so glad you're back. Like, UC Irvine had some good moments. Like, the middles, they fed the middle really well. Unfortunately, they just gave up a few runs here and there to UCLA, and you just can't do that against a team like UCLA. You're facing the number 1 team in the nation. You got to come better prepared, and you got to make sure you don't give up those runs here and there. But anyway, that was that in terms of all of most of the Friday matches. We still had one more, and that was round 2 between Hawaii BYU, but we didn't really miss much when it came to this matchup. Hawaii swept BYU out of Stan Sheriff Center, and I don't understand why, but everyone was crowning Hawaii. But here's my little takeaway for the 2-game series about Hawaii. Beating BYU was pretty darn incredible because BYU had 2 losses coming into that series, both of which were to UC Irvine. But here's my thing. I don't think BYU is all that's cracked up to be. BYU fans are probably going to be screaming at me, or if they ever see this clip, they're going to be angry at me. But here's my hot take. BYU isn't all that is cracked up to be, and that's no disrespect to the entire team. That's no disrespect to the players. That's no disrespect to Sean Olmstead. That's no disrespect to BYU as a whole. But I just don't think BYU can match up well against the likes of Long Beach State, Hawaii, UC Irvine, USC, UCLA, and even Pepperdine. I'm sorry, but it's just the truth. It just feels like every year we all hype up BYU to being really good, and then what happens is when the brights shine really bright, or when the lights shine really bright on them, they wind up pooping the bed. It just gets too bright for them. I don't know how. I don't know why. Some people have told me that it's coaching. Some people have told me that there's not enough talent. Some people have told me that they're missing some players. But all I have to say is I just don't think BYU is in that category of contender in terms of a championship, a national championship. I'm sorry, but it's just the truth. And this was kind of their big litmus test to see what they can do. But unfortunately, they just couldn't rise to the occasion against Hawaii. And everyone here was just crowning Hawaii as possible national championship contenders. I definitely think they are, with the exception of what happened yesterday. It's just a matter of making sure the opponent does not go on scoring runs. It's just a matter of making sure that they stay healthy. It's just a matter of making sure that they can win on the road, which I definitely think they can do so, because their losses are only at home, which is surprising. But I think for Hawaii, I think they definitely have what it takes. I think if I had to pick between BYU and Hawaii of who could win a national championship this season, my money is 100% on Hawaii. So I just have more confidence in Charlie Wade's squad. And I'm not saying that just to put down BYU. I'm saying that just because I'm 100% confident in Hawaii's squad. I think they have a well-rounded roster. I just don't know what to expect with BYU because sometimes they'll just go wonky because they can beat certain opponents. Like they can beat opponents around their level or below their level. They just can't beat opponents above their level. And that's why I don't have them as high as most people think they should be. Anyway, so that's that for all the Friday matches. Saturday, nothing really special happened. I mean, Lindenwood went forward with Fort Valley State. I mean, Fort Valley State's solid. I mean, they're going to be ready when it comes to SIAC conference play, which I think can definitely help them. McKendree wound up winning their series against Queens, which was good. Princeton outlasted Dominican in 5. So remember when I said Princeton, when the win was going to come when it came to Princeton? There it is. There's the win when it came to Princeton. My only hope for the Tigers is that they could use this win as a springboard going forward and use that as a momentum booster. I just feel that Princeton's kind of been through the ringer and back, and this is just one of those years for Princeton. But it's good that they finally snapped that losing streak. They definitely needed to snap that losing streak, and good for them. All right, now jumping to Sunday, we only had one notable matchup. Well, two. George Mason swept Dominican. Don't look now, but George Mason's on a little bit of a winning streak. And then Loyola Chicago took down the Ohio State in 4. Not surprised at Loyola taking down Ohio State. The Ramblers were led by Josh Schellinger, who had 16 kills. And they also got 10 kills from Tyler Howard. Daniel Fabakovic and Aiden Klein both had 9 kills. Assist-wise, guess who's back? Back again. McElligot's back. Tell a friend. Ryan McElligott is back. He had 47 assists. And man, no offense to Alex Smits Van Oyen, but having Ryan McElligott back is such a difference maker. Overall, it was an impressive win for Loyola. For Ohio State, they were led by Stanislaw Chichinski and Daniel Hurley, both having 13 kills. Jane Wetzel had 12 kills. It just wasn't enough. And unfortunately, they just could not pull off the win. And man, what a tough week for the Buckeyes. And if you're following volleyball this week, you're about to see that it gets worse for the Ohio State, but I digress. Anyway, so that's that for the Week 9 recap. So AVCA Top 25 for this week. So we didn't really have too much happening. I mean, only one team, the most a team went up was one spot, so nothing really changed, which is, I mean, UC San Diego went down 2 spots, but I don't want to diminish poor UC San Diego. I mean, that loss to Vanguard really just deflated them, but it is what it is, and that's life in the big city. So there you have it right there in terms of like everyone. You already saw this ticker right there, and you've probably seen the AVCA Top 25, and there you have it. Long story short, UCLA is still garnering all first place votes, and they deservedly do so. I mean, yeah, they're kind of winning in dramatic fashion, and they're living on the edge, but hopefully for their sake, they can continue this win streak. I mean, this week they played USC twice. Next week they're in the Outrigger Invitational against the likes of Lewis and obviously Hawaii. I forget who else they're playing. It's some team that I'm probably blanking on, which I should know, but it is what it is. I'm probably like blanking on this team name, and it's probably like I know it's Hawaii, Lewis, UCLA, and Mount Olive. That's who it is, Mount Olive. So. God, I was blanking on that team for a long time. So I said it was a navy blue team, but it's dark green. So anyway, yeah, Mount Olive, Lewis, UCLA, and Hawaii are in the Outrigger Invitational for this year. And I can already tell you, and I was going to save this for next week's news, UCLA, Hawaii is sold out, which means we're going to be seeing 10,000 plus in attendance, which is going to be really cool if you ask me. So there you have it right there. And that's actually going to do it for the NCAA men's volleyball portion of the show. So you're probably wondering, well, where's the Week 10 preview? So, well, I'm actually going to skip the Week 10 preview just because since this show came out later than expected during the week, the Week 10 preview is unfortunately going to be postponed. And I promise you I'll get back on schedule next week. I'm never going to have a Monday event derail Set Point ever again. So there you go. But anyway, for the Off the Block men's volleyball media poll, we had UCLA 1, Long Beach State 2, UC Irvine 3, Hawaii 4, USC 5, Pepperdine 6, BYU 7, Ball State 8, Loyola 9, and Lindenwood 10. So I can never get the correct poll correct. My ballot is never really aligned with the Off the Block media poll. I had UCLA 1, Long Beach State 2, Hawaii 3, UC Irvine 4, USC 5, BYU 6, 7 Pepperdine, 8 Ball State, Lindenwood 9, and 10 Loyola. We all can never agree on who is going to be ranked higher. Do we want Lindenwood ranked higher? Do we want Loyola ranked higher? Because every time I vote Loyola at number 9, everyone votes Lindenwood at number 9. It's like, can we just agree on something? Gosh darn it. Anyway, but it's actually nice for like differential businesses and differential purposes and whatnot. So that's who I voted for in terms of my Off the Block media poll right there. And yeah, that's pretty much who I have in my top 10. I don't really do top 10 rankings like Michaela Chester does for NCAA women's volleyball. Just going to put that out on record right there. So there you go. So now that we're done with the NCAA men's volleyball portion of the show, I will say I plan on being at Long Beach State for Long Beach State Penn State this weekend. A match that I forgot to make note of in my graphic is Ohio State and Ohio State and Lindenwood that played tonight. So there you have it. So there you have it right there. And yeah, I messed up when it came to missing that ranked on ranked matchup in my graphic. See, this is why I don't do graphics. Like, I'm more of a video guy, and I probably would have missed that in my video as well, but I probably would have edited that match in. So there you go. All right, now we're done with the NCAA men's volleyball portion of the show. So now let's jump on into some NCAA beach volleyball. So here's the AVCA Collegiate Beach Volleyball poll. So Stanford is number one. They're number one for the second straight week, which is incredible if you ask me. Texas is in the top 5, which is awesome. USC garnered a first-place vote. New to the poll is South Carolina, so we have 2 SCs in the poll, which I think is pretty funny. Okay, let's all say the whole thing. Let's all have the debate of which is the real SC, South Carolina or Southern California. So, anyway, but yeah, that's pretty much your top 20 when it comes to the AVCA Collegiate Beach Volleyball poll. And still, just like last week, the NCAA doesn't have their live score tracker when it comes to the NCAA beach volleyball season, which is pretty trash if you ask me. I'm sorry, but this is just unacceptable. But I will just say, NCAA, get your stuff together. This is ridiculous, dude. Like, why can't we have NCAA beach volleyball covered like we do for NCAA women's volleyball? Like, I hope NCAA gets their heads out of their you-know-whats and finally gets everything together. But I will just briefly go over the NCAA beach volleyball portion really swiftly. So Arizona State's the only undefeated team in the poll. Remember when they took down TCU? They're doing it big, and they're off to their highest ranking, which is pretty awesome if you ask me. USC and Cal Poly both took down, USC and UCLA both took down Cal Poly, which was nice. Washington took down, Washington took down LSU, number 12 LSU, which was nice. That's a very good win. First ranked win under Steve McFadden. Arizona State, like I mentioned, they remain unbeaten. The interesting thing is that Nebraska, everyone knows that Nebraska's beach volleyball team isn't really a beach volleyball team. It's just their women's volleyball team in the off season. So you have that right there, but they play Arizona State, and everyone is hyping that to be a big time matchup because they're both undefeated. Spoiler alert, I think Arizona State's going to win that one. This is probably going to anger a lot of Nebraska fans, but Arizona State has beach volleyball players. For Nebraska, they've got probably some beach volleyball players or with some beach volleyball smarts, but it's just their indoor players playing beach volleyball in terms of the off season. Like their team doesn't really actually partake in NCAA beach volleyball play. And I know everyone's going to be bummed about that, but it is what it is. And there was actually some weird idea that they wanted a beach volleyball duel at the Bob or the Bob Devaney Athletics Arena or that sort, or the Bob, which would be a not so good idea. I mean, you have to put in a lot of sand in order for that to happen, and you just can't have that. There would be a lot of cleaning up in terms of the sand, and I don't think anyone would want to deal with that. So as much as people would want to see a beach volleyball duel at the Bob Devaney Center, it just won't happen. It just won't. It just won't. I'm sorry. It just won't. But yeah, Nebraska has won a bunch of duels dating back to last year. If they beat Arizona State, I think they should be ranked for the heck of it. Lincoln Arneal, the beat reporter for Nebraska volleyball, made a little bit of a joke last year. He was like, Nebraska, despite going undefeated, Nebraska beach volleyball did not make the NCAA tournament, which they should have. And he put in quotations, obviously a joke. Obviously joking, which I thought was pretty funny if you ask me. My big question is, and this is the $1 million question, which NCAA beach volleyball duel am I going to go to? I got to keep that streak alive, and I got to get my NCAA beach volleyball on. So, I really want to go to a beach volleyball duel, whether it's at Long Beach, whether it's at USC. Heaven forbid I'm not going to go to Texas again, which I'm sorry to Texas fans. I'm sorry to Texas volleyball teams. I just can't go back to Texas. It's a lot of flying around, and it's airfare costs and so on and so forth. So I'm just looking at USC's schedule. You've got they've got obviously Cal and Grand Canyon and LSU. That's pretty nice. But USC's at Pompano for the Pompano tournament. So, well, I guess I could forget about going to a USC duel next week. They've also got TCU also that following week, which is pretty good. They have got a doubleheader: Palm Beach State and TCU, not Long Beach State, Palm Beach State, and then USC's also got Texas, the Texas Invitational, and then they've got the best in the West, which shouldn't that be copyright for a boys volleyball tournament? Anyway, but that takes place in Laguna Beach, so maybe I can go to that. Maybe we'll see. We shall see. And I know the MPSF championship is held in Huntington Beach, but I want to go to a duel. I mean, you have that right there, but what are some other duels that are like local to me? So let's go Long Beach State beach volleyball schedule. So yeah, I really don't like how the NCAA doesn't really have a ticker. I mean, there's a website you can go to. I'm just rambling on when it comes to this thing. Let's look at Long Beach State schedule. I know they've got like a home opener this weekend, which I think is going to be pretty awesome if you ask me. But I just don't think I'll have the time because I have something tomorrow. Yeah, they've got Long Beach State has their Long Beach State Invitational. And then I already know that a 3 and out is I have 3 and out this Saturday too. So you got LMU, Bakersfield, UAB, Santa Clara. LMU is in this thing, Stetson, which is nice. And obviously Long Beach State's in this thing. Maybe I can we'll see. Maybe I can go to Long Beach State LMU, but again, it's going to be like it's going to be based on what happens. And then I guess they've also got, they got Long Beach State has an event at a tournament in Stanford, and then they've got the Big West Challenge, which is in Long Beach at Rosie's Dog Beach. That's pretty cool. Rosie's Dog Beach. It's interesting. And they've got a little meet in Texas, in Austin, Texas. It's probably like the Texas Invitational. And like I said, there's the best in the West. Like Long Beach State's got to go up this gauntlet. They got USC on. So April 3rd and April 4th, they've got USC, Stanford, Cal Poly, and UCLA. Woof! That's brutal if you ask me. But I am seeing that Long Beach State does have a duel on their home sand. It's at the LBSU Sand Courts, and they'll play Concordia Irvine, CSUN, and that's it. But the following week, they're at Long Beach City College. They play Grand Canyon, and they play Arizona State. Maybe I can go to that. Well, actually, no, I don't think I can because I got plans, but we'll see. Anyway, that's that for the NCAA beach volleyball thing. So, NCAA beach volleyball portion of the show. Long Beach State's going to have to be my saving grace in terms of like going to a duel and keeping that duel streak alive in terms of like me going to NCAA beach volleyball duels. Because I really want to cover more beach volleyball. It seems like I never cover beach volleyball when it comes to the springtime. And that's not right with me. I got to cover everything volleyball. I just can't cover indoor. It's like how I also got to cover the AVP. So let's do it. Anyway, that'll do it for the NCAA beach volleyball portion of the show. Should be another fun week of NCAA beach volleyball. I think it's going to be an exciting week just because there's some high-level beach volleyball happening. I wish we had more coverage of the sport. I know the AVCA kind of covers it. The MPSF Midseason Rumble is actually happening this weekend as the field includes Stanford, UCLA, USC, Texas, Cal, LSU, Grand Canyon, and Washington, which is really darn cool if you ask me. So, yeah, the MPSF Midseason Rumble. God, that is a really good. And that right there is going to be fun. That's going to be a fun little event for everyone in terms of like the MPSF. And I can't wait for it. So the Midseason Rumble, man. I mean, USC just had the Battle for LA, which they went a perfect 4-0 in, which is not surprising. But yeah, Well, USC is hosting this midseason Rumble. They're hosting Cal, Oregon, Grand Canyon, and LSU. But that's it. Oh, man, I wish USC... Man, I wish I had plans to go down to USC this weekend. I mean, it's kind of too late now, but again, who knows? Maybe I will be able to do so. Well, it's Marcus Lewis, great pops in the chat room. He says, salute to you too, Marcus. Talking about some USC beach volleyball, because I know you and I are both USC fans. So there you have it right there. And I guess USC is also doing a promotion on Saturday. So Saturday when they play GCU and LSU, the first 75 fans will receive free USC sunglasses. That's this weekend. God. If only I can go. I'd love to have free USC sunglasses. I would love that. I'd be styling and profiling without being biased, of course. Speaking of USC, I guess I'll, before I go to commercial break, I will just say USC and Long Beach State will be facing one another in an NCAA women's volleyball scrimmage next Friday at the Galen Center. I imagine it's going to be at Galen Center. If not, it's probably going to be at the Galen Center Pavilion, which is right up above. I plan on being at that. I plan on being at that for the most part. I mean, unless, of course, my plans fall through, but I will be there to cover that NCAA women's volleyball scrimmage. And yeah, Long Beach State, in terms of like women's volleyball, they picked like the worst dates to have, like, or I wouldn't say worst places, but unfortunately, most of their scrimmages are going to be away. Like after they have USC, 2 weeks after, they're playing in San Diego. Actually, no, they're playing at Pepperdine. And then the following, I think 2 weeks after that, they play San Diego, which I guess should be a good little scrimmage. And then they've got their alumni match, which will be in the Gold Mine. And then they've also got their the final scrimmage against Cal Poly Pomona, which, I mean, that's a solid NCAA Division III program. I just know UC Irvine plays Cal Poly Pomona, but it is what it is. So that's that for that little bit of NCAA women's volleyball news. I'm probably going to be covering some NCAA women's volleyball scrimmages just to get you NCAA women's volleyball fans a little bit more excited before the season begins. But we shall see. But that'll do it for that little NCAA women's volleyball bit right there. We're going to take ourselves a quick break. When we come back, we've got some MLV and we've got some LOVB to discuss. So keep it locked here. You were listening to Set Point here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that sports. We'll be right back after this.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Davidson.
It's your boy, Dentarius Lava.
And we are the hosts of Fast Break here on IE Sports Radio, where we discuss everything in the world of basketball from prep to the pros.
You guys should definitely check us out, man. Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. We got all the basketball information you guys need, so we look forward to you guys listening in.
And please do, because we are the best basketball show on this side of the Mississippi. And please do check us out on Twitter at FastBreakISR. D-Lock, where's our time again?
8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. That give you guys plenty of time on a Sunday.
Tune in.
Hockey fans, I'm Adam Kernick.
And I'm Zach Puplis.
Together, we are the newest version of Hockey Talk on IE Sports Radio, The Neutral Zone.
Zone.
We love hockey, but we also know it's not everyone's first sport. So we want to make this show as much for new fans as for the diehards.
Whether you can name all the Swedes on the 08 Red Wings Stanley Cup team, or if you can't tell if Varlamov is a goalie or the latest trendy vodka, we're here to help. With facts, figures, and outrageous fans, we bring you all the hard-hitting hockey news you can handle, while still keeping it fun and on the rails. Well, mostly.
So tune in every week as we go around the hockey world, from college to Canada, the minors and the majors, and everywhere in between.
So bring your cellies,
And your one-timers,
you wicked wristas.
and be sure to protect your five-hole.
Catch the Neutral Zone every week on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
We promise not to pick on the Arizona Coyotes every episode.
And we are back with Set Point here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that sports. Definitely check out all of our amazing shows, as well as our sponsors and our website. It just relaunched a month ago, so definitely check all of that out. So now let's jump on into the Major League Volleyball, or MLV. So you're probably wondering why my title is what the title is. So if you can't read, well, I'm sorry to hear that, but my title is titled, What in the World Has Happened to the Omaha Supernovas? You're about to find out what has really happened with the Omaha Supernovas, and it's a little concerning. It's really, really concerning if you ask me. So the season this week has already begun. So week 9 has already begun. But week 8 started on Thursday when we had the San Diego Mojo taking down the Grand Rapids Rise in straight sets on the road. So don't look now, but the San Diego Mojo are on fire. I can't believe how good the San Diego Mojo have really how much the Mojo have really turned it around. Because I thought they were going to be a laughing stock, but now they've really turned it around. It feels like the first year of the Pro Volleyball Federation, or PVF. But now they've turned back the clock as Maya Tabron led the way with 13 kills. They also got 7 kills from Jovana Brakocevic. As a team, San Diego didn't even hit 200. They hit 179, but they held Grand Rapids to a hitting percentage of under 100, which was pretty good if you ask me. And then Grand Rapids was led by Paige Briggs-Romine, who had 12 kills. She also had 12 digs as well. But San Diego just continues to its winning ways, which is very nice. Because remember, only 4 teams advance to the playoffs. The other 4 teams get left on the outside looking in. So now we have the big question of why I titled what I titled. The Omaha Supernovas hosted the Atlanta Vibe. And I'm thinking, and remember what I said last week? I said that Omaha might have look, I'm just going to say this straight up. It's so surprising to see Omaha with arguably one of the worst home records in the league. They have the third worst home record behind the likes of the Orlando Valkyries, which is 1-6 at home, and then the Columbus Fury, which have yet to win a home game. They hosted the Atlanta Vibe last Thursday, and they wound up losing to the Vibe in 4 sets, 25-20, 20-25, 25-16, and 25-20. And again, this was at CHI Health Center. It's like, normally Omaha has like the most passionate fan base, and there is no shortage of talent when it comes to Omaha. They've got like a fairly stacked team. It's just that they have now hit maybe the worst rough patch ever. As for Atlanta, they were led by Aiko Jones, who had 19 kills and 9 digs. Leah Edmond had 18 kills and 8 digs. I'll also just say Atlanta also hit 255 while holding Omaha to a solid 227, which isn't terrible. But they also got 10 kills from Phoebe Awalier. But man, Atlanta going on the road, it feels like we're back in the first season of the PVF, formerly known as the PVF MLV, now MLV. But yeah, for the Omaha Supernovas, there's got to be some reason why Omaha did not win. I mean, Brooke Nuneviller only had 6 kills, which is not like her. But she did have 5 blocks, and she had 9 digs. Emily Londot had 16 kills. Reagan Cooper had 11 kills. Elena Ogilvy is still solid. She had 14 digs. I just don't understand. It's like, why is Omaha struggling? And their coach is still pretty solid. Lucas Slabe is still awesome sauce. I just don't get it. Like, what is wrong with Omaha? It's like they just, like, I saw one of their matches. It just felt like they were lacking the passion and the fire. Speaking of fire, that jumps into Friday's match against the Indy Ignite, where they swept the Columbus Fury. That's not too surprising, just because Indy is one of the best teams in the league, if not the best team in the league. Let me just confirm that. Yeah, they are the best team in the league. They have a league best 12-2 record. And they've only lost once at home, and that was ironically enough to Omaha. But anyway, Indy was led by Anna DeBeer, who had 12 kills. Lydia Martin had 10 kills. Lecator member Monet had 8 kills. As a team, Indy hit 360, which was very good, and held Columbus to only a hitting percentage of 86.086. Meanwhile, for Columbus, they were led by Raina Terry, who had 9 kills. They also got 7 kills from Reagan Pittman Nelson. So I guess Reagan Pittman just recently got married, and now she's Reagan Pittman Nelson instead of just Reagan Pittman. But I digress. So yeah, yikes! Columbus Fury. I mean, this isn't surprising by any means. What is surprising, or what was surprising, was the Friday result that we had. We had the Orlando Valkyries taking on the Dallas Pulse, and this was, I wouldn't say this was kind of must-win for Orlando, but they were on the road and they needed a big-time victory, and the Valkyries did get that. As it feels good to say this, well, Nia Scheim led the way for Orlando with 17 kills. Courtney Schwann had 11 kills. Charity Looper had 15 kills and 13 digs. Still no Brittany Abercrombie. I looked into that. It didn't seem like there was anything newsworthy and notable about that. Natalie Foster had 11 kills. So at least Orlando knows how to win without the likes of Brittany Abercrombie. They didn't have Hannah Maddox either, but I thought she just recently came back. But Orlando, they hit 255. And even though Dallas hit 233, that's still a solid win for Orlando. Dallas was led by Mimi Collier, who had 22 kills. Sophia Maldonado Diaz, she had 14 digs. But that's, here's my defense for Dallas. I think Dallas was kind of due for a clunker game. I think Orlando was kind of desperate for a win. It feels good to see them have Charity Looper, but no, Brittany Abercrombie just really sucks. Like, I still got to look more into this, into the PVF. I mean, it just is. I'm just so busy when it comes to the volleyball world. When it comes to covering a lot of volleyball, not just indoors, but in terms of like beach volleyball and so on and so forth. But yeah, it's like we haven't really seen. Okay, so here's the news here. So Brittany Abercrombie is still sidelined with a foot injury, according to NSM Today, or Nicholson Student Media Sports. So yeah, Brittany Abercrombie is sidelined with a foot injury. So no wonder the Orlando Valkyries just aren't the same Orlando Valkyries. And she did not appear in any match in the month of February. So that sucks. And then Hannah Maddox was also out due to a back injury. So Detective Teran solves the case of why Hannah Maddox and Brittany Abercrombie haven't been playing as of late. So I knew there was some reason why Abercrombie and Maddox were out, but it's just a matter of putting 2 plus 2 together. So moving on to Sunday, we had a quadruple header. So which matchup should I rip the Band-Aid off first? Let's go to chronological order. Omaha Supernovas at Indy Ignite. So remember how I said Omaha was a better road team than a home team? Turns out that wasn't the case. As even though the Omaha Supernovas took the first set, they wound up dropping the next 3 sets, which was sucky. I mean, God, It will say this. Omaha, based on this was the match I did see. Based on what I saw, I thought Omaha was gonna snap the streak. I thought this was gonna be the match where they snapped the streak. Unfortunately, that was not the case, as Indy wound up gentlewomen sweeping them after dropping the first set. So Indy just proves that they're still the best team in the MLV, as Kayla Lund led the way with 14 kills, Anna DeBeer had 13 kills, Cameron Hanna had 12 kills, Elena Scott had 11 digs. For Omaha, well, I actually should mention that Indy hit 374. Whew, 374, man. And then Omaha hit 252. They were led by Reagan Cooper, who had 10 digs. They also got 6 kills from Toyosi Onabanjo. And they were led by Emily Londot, who had 17 kills. Brooke Nuneviller, yikes, she didn't even play set 4. There must be something weird going on in terms of like the injury bug. Nuneviller didn't play the 4th set. I imagine she must have gotten hurt. But yeah, with this loss, Nuneviller only played 3 sets. She only had 4 kills. With this loss for the Supernovas, they actually dropped below 500. They have not been below 500 since when they started the season 0-1. It's been that long since Omaha has had a losing record. And with this loss, they are now a half a game behind the San Diego Mojo and the Orlando Valkyries for the 3rd and 4th spot in the MLV playoffs. So just like the title says, what in the world has happened to the Omaha Supernovas? I just don't get it. It's like, what has gone wrong with the Supernovas? I did read an article saying that the Omaha Supernovas, after their loss, they just lacked the passion. I just feel that they kind of just are lacking the sauce. I mean, look, I saw most of that Omaha Supernovas match. I didn't really get a chance to see set 4, but man, you gotta wonder what's going on with Omaha. Like, what's with the lack of ambition? It just feels like they're missing something. They're missing that juice. What they got to do is they got to get that first win. And I get it. Indy's a good team. Atlanta's a solid team. I wouldn't call them like the greatest team, but Indy, I'll give them a pass for losing to Indy. I just don't understand how they lost to Atlanta at CHI Health Center. But speaking of the Atlanta vibe, the Dallas Pulse beat them in 5 sets, which was pretty impressive if you ask me. This was on the road, mind you. So Dallas was led by Mimi Collier and Sofia Maldonado Diaz, both having 21 kills. They also got 12 kills from Lan Van Buskirk. They got 10 kills from Kaylee Cox. And Dallas also hit 249 while holding Atlanta to a hitting percentage of 204. Atlanta was led by Leah Edmond, who had 22 kills. They also got 13 kills from Anna DeBeer and 12 kills from Taylor Smith. But it wasn't enough, as they actually ran a 6-2 offense, which was pretty cool. Shannon Shields and Avery Carlson both ran the offense to a T, but they didn't run it good enough, as they wound up losing to Dallas in 5. And speaking of the Orlando Valkyries, this was kind of a surprising result. The Grand Rapids Rise wound up beating the Orlando Valkyries in Orlando in 4. So remember when I said that Omaha might have one of the worst Omaha has the worst home record? Well, Columbus and Orlando are pretty much right on top of them. Orlando's only won one home game. And I think that was against Omaha, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, Orlando needs Brittany Abercrombie and Hannah Maddox back in the worst way. Sorry, I was playing, just drew a blank right there. But yeah, Brittany has been out for the entire month of February, which really sucks. And then Hannah Maddox also being out also sucks as well. I mean, they have Nia Shime, who had 17 kills, but you need Brittany Abercrombie. There's a reason why she was named the MVP of last season. The good news is for Orlando, they have their setter back in Champu Gudapard, who had 44 digs and a whopping 23 digs. Courtney Schwann also had 20 digs along with 9 kills, which was nice. Tedora Pusick had 16 digs. Orlando as a team, they had 90 digs, which was incredible if you ask me. But You know who had a high amount of digs? Morgan Hentz. Remember, Morgan Hentz was acquired by the Grand Rapids Rise in a trade for Elena Ogilvie and Grand Rapids' first-round pick, which is probably going to be a high one just because Grand Rapids is not one of the better teams in the league. But Morgan Hentz had 25 digs. Paige Romine Briggs had 16 kills to go along with 23 digs. Cameron Turner had 48 assists to go along with 12 digs. Leah Meyer had 13 kills. Elizabeth Ine had 11 kills and 10 digs. So this is one of the more solid wins for the Grand Rapids Rise. They held Orlando to a hitting percentage of 130, and despite only hitting 207, they were solid as a rock. So last matchup we had for Week 8, we had the San Diego Mojo hosting the Columbus Fury. Now, this could have been an easy letdown spot for San Diego Mojo with all the winning that they've done. But the San Diego Mojo just continue to win, which is just incredible, as they wound up taking down the Columbus Fury in 4 sets, which was very good, if you ask me. I mean, not the greatest win, but hey, wins are wins. You take what you can get. Maya Tabron led the way with 18 kills and 10 digs. They also got 14 digs from Marley Monserrat, and they also got 12 or 13 digs from Shara Venegas. And in terms of assists, they got 28 assists from Marley Monserrat, which she was also featured in terms of the MLV, which was really cool if you ask me. And then as for Columbus, they were led by Raina Terry, who had 20 kills. They also got 10 kills from Megan Courtney Lush. Lush also had 15 digs. Terry had 10 digs. And then Audrey Pack had 28 assists to go along with 9 digs. Camille Hiapo led the Columbus Fury in terms of digs with 18 digs, but it wasn't enough as Columbus wound up dropping another match. So speaking of Columbus Fury dropping another match, Week 9 has already begun. Orlando Valkyries took down the Columbus Fury in 4 sets. I was going to say, if the Orlando Valkyries can't win this match, I don't know what to expect. I want to say that's their second home win. I mean, because they've only beaten 2 teams at home. That is their second home win. So they now have the second worst record second worst home record, along with the Omaha Supernovas. The team with the worst home record is obviously the Columbus Fury. I'm sorry, Columbus fans. I know you don't want to hear that, but it's the truth. Orlando was led by Charity Looper, who had 23 kills. Finally, we're getting to see the strong and talented Charity Looper that we saw from Louisville and UCLA. Orlando had 9 kills from Kaz Brown, and they also got 8 kills each from Lindsay Vanderweide and Courtney Schwann. Chompu had 46 assists and 14 digs. 48 digs, that'd be crazy. But yeah, 14 digs for Chompu, 15 digs for Courtney Schwann. Tadora Pusick had 14 digs. For the Fury, they were led by Raina Terry, who had 12 kills and 10 digs. Megan Courtney Lush had 10 kills and 12 digs. Camille Hiapo had a whopping 23 digs, which was nice, but it wasn't nice enough as Columbus dropped another matchup. So there you have it. So, yeah, Week 9's already underway. So now let's preview the other matches. Saturday, we've got the Dallas Pulse at the Orlando Valkyries. So these 2 teams are meeting yet again. So, look, if Orlando keeps this up, they might actually be able to move up in the standings, because that win right there actually has them in 3rd place for the time being. They're half a game ahead of San Diego in terms of the standings. They still have a chance to make up some ground, but, man, not having Brittany Abercrombie just really sucks, as well as Hannah Maddox. Excuse me. Just still feeling a little aftermath from this head cold. But yeah, Dallas needs the win to keep up with the Indy Ignite. But I don't think there's too much concern for them. My only concern for Orlando is if they let their guard down after they've won 2 in a row. I'm sorry, they haven't won 2 in a row. After they wound up beating Columbus. Because Dallas is still good. This is definitely going to be maybe the match of the week. Unless I'm missing something here. Because Orlando needs the win to keep up in terms of the standings. And Dallas needs the win in order to keep up with the Ignite. This is the battle of the 2nd best team in the league and the 3rd best team in the league. And I think the Valkyries and the Pulse will not disappoint. And then also on Saturday, we have, this is probably the most interesting matchup. The Omaha Supernovas at the Grand Rapids Rise. Oh, man. This is arguably I wouldn't call it the toilet bowl matchup, but this is the second worst team taking on the fourth worst team in the league. And this is kind of the battle of the Elena Ogilvy Morgan Hentz trade. So if you all remember, the Omaha Supernovas traded Morgan Hentz for Grand Rapids Rise's first round pick and Elena Ogilvy. Ogilvy has been solid. And I'll also just say that Morgan Hentz has also done wonders for Grand Rapids Rise. So it feels like a win-win. What also feels like a win-win is if Omaha's first-round pick from Grand Rapids also looks good. So here's the thing. Look, Omaha's got to get up off the mat somehow. I think they've lost 3 straight, if I'm not mistaken. They lost to Indy in their last match. They lost to Atlanta in the previous match. They lost to San Diego in 5, which probably could have been avoided. They lost to Orlando in straight sets. And Dallas beat them, so that's 5 straight. And then, okay, Omaha has lost 5 in a row. 5 straight matches. It seems like whenever I praise Omaha and I talk great things about them, they wind up losing. God, I'm going to be wanted man in Omaha. But look, Omaha's got to get off the mat somehow. This is my message to you, Omaha Supernovas. You have to get up off the mat somehow, some way. This is not like you. You're supposed to be the golden standard of the MLV. And the fact that you've lost 5 straight and you're under 500 for the first time since you were 0-1 since the PBF started is unacceptable. You got to go in Van Andel Arena and get that win. There's no excuse. Look at me. You can do it, Omaha. This is no disrespect to Grand Rapids, but the Omaha Supernovas, to me, are the golden standard of the MLV in terms of like professional women's volleyball. It's so weird to see them with a sub-500 record at home. 2-6, mind you, at home. You're on the road. You have a good chance at winning. I mean, look at Omaha's record on the road. They're 5-2. 5-2. They should win this one. Grand Rapids is the second worst team in the league. This should be a fairly easy win unless they don't have Brooke Nonneveller. But they have talent galore on this team. I just don't see how Omaha loses this one. Win this matchup. Please, Omaha. You got this, Omaha. If they lose to Grand Rapids, I will gladly eat crow. And I might have to do another. I might have to invite Lincoln Arneal on the show to possibly talk about the Omaha Supernovas and, give them more of a little bit of a pep talk. Because, look, I don't really have a fan. I'm not really a fan. I don't have a fan in terms of like a team. I mean, I don't really cover a lot of MLV matches in person. I really want that to change. But still. I just like seeing Omaha having success and just bringing big numbers and big revenue to the MLV. So that's what you got to do, Omaha. You got to win at Van Andel Arena against Grand Rapids. And looking at Grand Rapids' record, they're 2-4 at home. I mean, they're 2-5 on the road, but still, they're one of the worst teams in the league. You got to win. Just do it. Anyway, so closing off the triple header on Saturday, you've got the Atlanta Vibe versus the San Diego Mojo. All right, this one's going to be a fun matchup. So Atlanta is trying to gnaw its way back into the playoff picture. The problem is that Atlanta is ranked 6th in terms of the MLV standings. The San Diego Mojo, on the other hand, they're actually 4th in the standings. They're 7-7, while I can't believe I'm about to say this. The Atlanta Vibe have a record of 6-7. Anyway, looking at the San Diego Mojo, look, this might be one of the more red hot teams. Now, their resume hasn't really been overly impressive. They beat the Columbus Fury, worst team in the league. They beat the Grand Rapids Rise, second worst team in the league. I'm not trying to take away anything from San Diego. I'm just saying that their body of work hasn't really reflected too much of their win streak. But yeah, taking out Columbus last week wasn't really overly impressive. taking down Grand Rapids in straight sets on the road. That's a solid win. Taking on the Supernovas, even though the Supernovas were kind of struggling, that's a solid win. I won't call it great, but still solid. But they've won 3 straight. So San Diego has won 3 straight. They take on an Atlanta team that's still hungry for a win, and that's coming off of a heartbreaker of a 5-set loss to Dallas. If there's any hope for San Diego to try to solidify a playoff spot, because soon the playoffs are going to be coming, they better start winning more of these matches. I will say this: Atlanta's not going to be an easy opponent. I mean, not like Columbus or Grand Rapids. I think this one's going to be a tricky opponent. I mean, the advantage that San Diego has is that they're at home, and Atlanta has to go from down south all the way to the West Coast. So that actually gives San Diego a good shot. But we shall see when it comes to that. And then Sunday we have the Grand Rapids Rise taking on the Indy Ignite, which, man, Grand Rapids has that's unfair for Grand Rapids. That's the second of a back-to-back. They've got Omaha on they host Omaha on Saturday, and then Sunday they're on the road to Indiana to take on the Indy Ignite. That's like out of the frying pan and into the fire. I mean, Omaha is desperate for a win, and then Indy still leads the MLV with an iron fist. And I guess we have this very rare Tuesday matchup. We have the Omaha Supernovas at the Columbus Fury. All right. If the Omaha Supernovas can't beat, this is the perfect chance for the Omaha Supernovas to go 2-0 this week. Omaha, I want to see a 2-0 record this week. Omaha needs to get back on track. There is no excuse. You are facing the 2 worst teams in the league. The 2 worst teams. And this is no disrespect to Grand Rapids and Columbus, but Omaha needs to get back into the win column. Like I said, they've lost 5 straight. They're out of the top 4. They're under 500. What more motivation do you need, Omaha? You need this win over Columbus. You need this win over Grand Rapids. This is your chance to get back into the win column. Because looking at the following week, Omaha takes on Indy, which surprisingly that's at a CHI Health Center. They only have 1 match, though. I mean, do we count the Tuesday match as week 9, or do we count it as week 10? Food for thought. Anyway, yeah, but after the Columbus Fury match, they've got the Indy Ignite match, and God, that's going to be a tough one. So they need the wins that they can get while they can in terms of like facing Grand Rapids and in terms of facing Columbus. Like, if they don't win these matches, I don't know when the next win's going to come for Omaha, but I digress. Anyway, that's that for the MLV Week 9 preview. I sound like an Omaha Supernovas fan. I'm not a fan. I don't really have a particular team that I would root for. I mean, in terms of my location, I'd probably root for San Diego, but I don't know. I mean, that's based off of my location. So we're just going to digress it right there. Anyway, now let's move on to LOVB, or League One Volleyball. So League One Volleyball, yeah. So League One Volleyball, we had the Week 8 recap. So Thursday we had LOVB Austin taking down LOVB Salt Lake in 4, which was a very good win by Austin. That's a very impressive win by Austin. So congratulations to Salt Lake, or to Austin, on winning that one. It's a tough loss for Salt Lake. That's life in the big city. But you know who had an even tougher week last week? LOVB Houston. Nebraska reverse swept Houston. Yeah, Nebraska, if I recall correctly, I think Nebraska had like the 2nd worst record, and they just recently lost to Wisconsin in 5. This time Nebraska pulled off the reverse brooms, and they wound up reverse sweeping Houston. And, man, they needed everything and more in that 3rd set. 3rd set, they wound up winning it 27-25. Man, Nebraska needed this win the worst way. I was wondering where that next win was going to come. And the fact that Nebraska went on the road, took down Houston, great job, LOVB Nebraska. And then on last Sunday, we had LOVB Atlanta taking down LOVB Salt Lake in 4. Oh man, that's tough if you're Salt Lake. That's like really tough. Thankfully for Salt Lake, they saw Houston lose. Otherwise, they would be in second place. But now the standings get a little interesting because Salt Lake is only a half a game ahead of Houston, and then not too far behind them is LOVB Atlanta and LOVB Austin. And then Nebraska, they still have an outside shot. So I just found out the format is going to be the top 4 teams advance. So the top four teams advance to the playoffs, which I actually do have the location, but more on that later. But yeah, top 4 teams advance. Madison was on bye last week, by the way, so they didn't play, which I think they earned a bye week. But they did actually play yesterday against LOVB Houston. So let's jump to the Week 9 preview. So Houston, they were really mad after they lost to Nebraska in a reverse sweep. So they took their anger out and took down the worst team in the league in Madison, sweeping them quite convincingly. I mean, Houston needed to keep up with Salt Lake. And that win actually, so going into the week, Salt Lake was actually a full game ahead of Houston. Now with the win, Houston is a half a game ahead of Salt Lake, which is pretty solid if you ask me. And then tonight we had LOVB Atlanta taking on LOVB Salt Lake. God, Salt Lake just can't get away from Atlanta. And man, Salt Lake kind of needs the win. Never thought I'd say that about the best team in the league, because if they don't win, and this one's actually being played at Smith Fieldhouse. I like it. I like this. I like how BYU is lending their gym to League One volleyball Salt Lake, which is really awesome. That's really cool to see. So thank you to BYU. I think it's really cool if you ask me. And then on Friday, we have Houston taking on Austin in the Texas two-step matchup. Well, if Austin wants to keep up their winning ways, a win over Houston would be big. But Houston needs the win to keep up with Salt Lake, and they're going to probably be the biggest fans of Atlanta when they play on Thursday. And then Saturday, you've got LOVB Salt Lake taking on LOVB Nebraska at Heartland Event Center in Grand Island? What? Heartland Event Center. Oh. Okay. So it's located in Nebraska. I didn't know where that was. I'm like, wait a sec. I've never heard of this before. Well, good to know. So LOVB Nebraska plays two of its matches in two different locations. So that's pretty cool if you ask me. So I guess this will for one match in 2026. So this is the one time you will see League One Volleyball Nebraska take on LOVB Salt Lake. So this is the one time we will see Nebraska host Salt Lake in Grand Island at the Heartland Event Center. So the rest of the way, Nebraska is going to be playing at Baxter Arena in Omaha. So that's pretty cool if you ask me. See, I like that League One Volleyball is expanding all over the place, and it's not just being played at one standard facility. So good on you, League One Volleyball. And then also Saturday to close off the Week 9, we have League One Volleyball, LOVB Madison taking on LOVB Atlanta. Oh, man. Madison got their win. Okay, well, they just lost today, but still. Atlanta's kind of in the same boat as Austin. Atlanta's actually in third place. A win would go quite far if you're Atlanta, but Madison does have the chance to play spoiler, but it's a we'll see process. And then I guess also Houston is hosting Austin in Week 10 at Berry Center. And then also Madison's hosting Nebraska at Alliant Energy Center, which I don't think that's a thing. Oh, no, that is a thing. It is. They primarily host there. But yeah, Berry Center, and then Salt Lake, LOVB Salt Lake is back at hosting at Salt Lake City College, Bruin Arena. So there you have it. All right, but yeah, I like that Salt Lake gets to host their matches at Smith Fieldhouse. And I also like that Nebraska gets to host their matches at one of their matches at Heartland Event Center. So that's pretty cool. All right, but that is going to do it for the League One. Well, actually, no. There's one more thing remaining. So this was actually announced yesterday. So yesterday, League One Volleyball announced that the playoff site for the League One Volleyball playoffs will be held in Louisville. So that's going to be on the 10th and the 12th, which is solid. But what's really cool is League One Volleyball playoffs this year, or at least the championship, is going to be held in Los Angeles, which means your boy might be able to go get a credential and cover it. But unfortunately, we haven't really decided. They haven't really decided on where in Los Angeles it's going to be held at. All I know is that it's going to be held in Los Angeles, which is cool, but we don't know where in Los Angeles. We don't know if it's going to be held at Crypto.com Arena. We don't know if it's going to be held at SoFi Stadium, heaven forbid. We don't know if it's going to be held where the Clippers get held at, or where the Clippers play at, which I don't really care because I'm not a Clippers fan, but I digress. But yeah, I think it's going to be really cool to see the League One Volleyball Championship being played in Los Angeles, just because Louisville and Los Angeles will have teams in the near future. So next year, Louisville and Los Angeles will have a team next year. I think Minnesota will have a team not next year, but the following year. I'm not entirely sure about that, but it's a we'll see process. But yeah, League One Volleyball is expanding, and they want to give the cities that don't have a team right now a taste of what League One Volleyball can be. So I'm excited for it, and I can't wait to see the League One Volleyball Championship being held in Los Angeles. You already know your boy is going to be there. Los Angeles is going to be popping in terms of like events, because you've got the League One Volleyball Championship happening in Los Angeles. You've got the Final Four in NCAA Men's Volleyball and National Championship being held in UCLA. Los Angeles is the place to be, whether you're a USC fan or UCLA fan, or USC or UCLA fan, or any fan of sports. But I digress. Anyway, that's going to do it for the League One Volleyball preview. And ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for this week's episode of Set Point. I apologize if I went live later on the week, and I apologize if I got sick, but hopefully we will be back on schedule. Until then, I'll see you all on Saturday for Long Beach State at Penn State at Long Beach State at Long Beach State. And I will see and have a great rest of the week. Enjoy all the volleyball action, and I will see you on the other side. Have a great week. Take care, everybody. And also stay healthy. Don't be like me who got sick, sadly. Peace.